Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're going to unpack a really intricate system known as TROM, or the resolution of mind. Specifically, we're zeroing in on a highly advanced mechanical schematic within the system called Level 5. If you've ever wondered about the invisible architecture of human consciousness and the nuts and bolts of why we sometimes feel stuck in our own mental loops, you are in for a fascinating breakdown. We're going to treat this material exactly like a structural blueprint for decoding the mind. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the architecture of games. Enter Level 5. Explore junior goals. Uncover the power of bonding and alternate bond breaking. And finally, look at how to escape the game matrix entirely. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The architecture of games. To really grasp Level 5, we first need to understand the hidden traps of what the source material calls compulsive games.
At the very foundation of this whole conflict loop is what's called a postulate. Now, a postulate is defined here as a causative consideration containing an intention that something will occur. The entire rigid matrix of the reactive mind is built when your intentions clash with the intentions of others. The mind isn't just some foggy cloud of thoughts. In this framework, it's a literal architecture made out of clashing, solidified intentions.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how those clashing intentions create a trap. Think of this matrix like a master architect reading a blueprint. During any interaction, there's a communication line between beings, right? You have your self-determined postulate, your own intention, but you also project a pan-determined postulate onto your opponent. System failure, or the creation of mental mass, happens when you intentionally project conflicting combinations. When your self-determined action forcefully crashes into an opponent's pan-determined action, it creates density. It literally buries your original free will under the weight of unresolved conflict.
Section 2, entering TROM Level 5. Now let's see how this builds into the core methodology of TROM.
This brings us to the creator of this methodology, Dennis H. Stevens, and the baseline step of this process, Level 5A. The methodology uses what's called the To-Know Goals package as a foundational tool. It's essentially a baseline exercise of creating and clearing simple intentions. By systematically running this package, you're basically exercising your ability to create complementary and conflicting postulates, vanishing mental mass by deliberately taking over the automatic responses of the mind.
Section 3, Junior Goals and Universes. Let's look at the massive hurdle introduced at Level 5B.
What's really fascinating here is the crucial difference between erasable and unerasable goals packages. An erasable goal aligns perfectly with basic life purposes. An unerasable goal, that is a compulsive game purpose. Stevens gives us a really precise mechanical test for this. You just check if the goal is fundamentally a pros to the basic to-be-known leg of the matrix. If it's a pose, it's an unerasable package. It is literally a loop you cannot win.
These unerasable loops almost always manifest as bodily goals packages, things deeply tied to our physical existence, like compulsions around sex, eating, and false identifications with the physical form. The core philosophy of TROM posits a really stark warning here. It says you cannot successfully base your life or achieve true clarity of mind upon an unerasable goals package. It will just endlessly pull you right back into the game matrix.
Section 4. The Power of Bonding. Let's peel back another profoundly fascinating layer of this architecture.
Enter Level 5C and the concept of bonding. A bonding is defined as an if A, then B relationship postulate. For example, a kid might subconsciously decide, well, if I'm a boy, then I must wear a cap. These are subjective double binds, usually formed in early childhood, that act as a bizarre double lock on a person's free will. Even if they make absolutely zero logical sense in the present day, they remain active, quietly dictating behavior from the shadows of the mind.
The author places immense weight on this concept, stating, "Bands of steel have got nothing compared to the power of the double bind." This really highlights the stakes, doesn't it? These hidden if A then B equations aren't just mild habits. They are the iron chains of the reactive mind, holding those false identifications and junior universes firmly in place.
So the mechanical solution provided in Level 5C is this process of patient, methodical erasure. To break a bonding, you take the double bind, that localized junior universe, and you make it the specific subject of the baseline To-Know Goals package we talked about earlier. By running it through this foundational matrix, the mind's automatic adherence to the bond slowly but surely unravels.
Section 5. Alternate bond breaking. But what if you need a more surgical, highly precise approach? That's level 5D.
The contrast in these approaches is super interesting. While 5C erases the bond by processing it through the general to-know package, 5D reverse engineers the bond by taking over the mind's automaticity outright. You actually run the bond deliberately, almost as if you were intentionally implanting it into your own mind like an educational tool. By consciously creating it, the rigid, unconscious pattern completely loses its power to compel you.
Here is the exact protocol to make that happen. Step 1. Isolate and address a single bonding. Do not mix them up. Step 2. Run it exactly like a goals package, putting up those conflicting postulates on purpose. Step 3 is the core mechanism. You are deliberately taking over the automaticity of the trap. Once it is no longer automatic, it dissolves. And finally, step 4 is absolutely critical. You must return to level 5A and re-null or reset the foundational to-know package, sweeping up any residual mental mass kicked up by breaking the bond.
But Stevens includes a massive warning label with this advanced technique. Don't be surprised. On some of these bonds, you're going to get a tiger by the tail. He emphasizes that mixing the 5C and 5D methods midway through is a complete flunk. If you start a bond on 5C, you finish it there. Bailing out halfway because it gets tough is basically asking for serious psychological fireworks.
Because you might grab a tiger by the tail, there's a strict repair sequence if level 5D goes sour and the mind gets overwhelmed. First, stop the 5D procedure immediately. Second, run an RI, a repair of importances, which basically means generating your own mental mass to stabilize yourself. Third, go back and reset the general to-know package at 5A. And finally, finish off with more RI until you feel good again. It's a highly mechanical, necessary safety valve to ensure you stay stable.
Section 6. Escaping the game matrix. So, what's the ultimate endgame of dismantling all these postulates and bonds?
In the strict vocabulary of TROM, the result is defined as nirvana. But we aren't talking about sitting quietly on a mountaintop. It's defined mechanically as the transition from involuntary conflict back to a state of universal co-creation. The being regains the ultimate ability to freely adopt complementary postulates with the universe. It's a return to a voluntary, fully self-determined existence, way beyond the dense, compulsive boundaries of the game.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question. What truly happens when a being finally transitions from involuntary conflict to universal co-creation? If the mind is indeed a mechanical architecture of clashing intentions and double binds, how much of your current reality is actually a voluntary choice, and how much is just the automaticity of a long-forgotten game? It's a striking perspective on human consciousness, and one that absolutely makes you want to explore the architecture of your own mind a little bit further. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the matrix.